Please read the disclaimer. XRP holders, is Trump ready to flip the market? Hello, beautiful people. Shalom, money makers. We're going to talk about the Trump tariff protocol that seems to be playing out right on key. What could that mean for the crypto market? What could that mean for XRP? We're going to go over all that. Also, we got some clarity bill updates and the tricky situation in Japan. All I ask from you is that you give me a beautiful smile to send out those good vibes. Smishity smash that like button. I know we're a little late this morning. We're not on time. I had a morning date with the wifey, right, for breakfast. So I'm a little bit off key on the times, but you'll forgive me. You'll forgive me. Currently, XRP is sitting at $1.92. XRP is down 3% on the day. XRP has sold off most of the gains that we saw yesterday after that morning sell-off, Monday morning sell-off. XRP is down about 5% since that high of 202, but it's not just XRP, okay? Also Bitcoin. Bitcoin is actually at a lower level to where it was yesterday when we had that mini flash crash, right? Ethereum is at 3,090, so also Ethereum is down. Cardano is down, but Cardano is looking similar to where we were on with XRP. Solana looking similar to Bitcoin and Ethereum, down to 128. So actually XRP is, where it was Monday morning there, but is in, you could say, better situation than Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, but Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin dropped less than XRP on that dip, right? For example, Bitcoin dropped 3.8%, whereas XRP dropped about 10% and ended up about 6.5% after that recovery. So it's kind of leveling out again. Futures open up for the stock market, right? So yesterday, because of Martin Luther King Day, there was no stock market. Today, there is stock market. Futures opened up. We're seeing sell-off there as well with the whole Trump, Greenland, Europe situation, which we'll get to in just a second in more detail. But what is interesting is that we're getting very close to closing the gap. And the gap that we have on the Bitcoin futures that open up on New Year's Day, when we had a gap up right around 88,000. It looks like the market wants to close it. We're not under 90,000 yet. But we could see a continuation here. So far, we didn't get there. But I would rather us close this gap, small gap, right? In the near future than similar to what we had in these previous gaps that opened up that didn't get closed, where, we had a gap open up in, here, right? So this was November and then it closed February. So it was like 4 or 5 months. And then we had one that opened up in April and it closed in November. So that was what, like 6, 7 months, right? 6, 7. I have young boys, right? At the age of 8 and 10. They even got the little one who's 5 doing it as well, with all the 6, 7. Anyway, so it will be very interesting to see if the gap does close and we don't have a situation where, let's say, the market recovers, we create a new high, 130, 140, right, for Bitcoin, and then we sell off in order to close the gap, right? I'd rather the gap closes here in a day or two and then just get it over with. So that will be very interesting to see. But we are seeing the step 8 of the tariff playbook, right? According to Kobesi letter, they made a whole playbook here for Trump tariffs. And step 8 is on the following weekend after announcing the tariffs. Roughly 1 week later, President Trump posts that discussions are underway and that he is working toward a solution with leaders of the countries targeted by the tariffs, right? And so what do we get? Breaking. President Trump says he has a very good phone call with the Secretary General of NATO regarding Greenland, and he has agreed to a meeting with various parties in Switzerland. President Trump is preparing for step 8 of the tariff playbook with perfect timing. And so he's continuing with this. I throw out the tariffs, the market freaks out, the market sells off. Then I have meetings, we get to an agreement, and then the market recovers off of that. That's basically, the next phases here is on Sunday evening of the weekend. Futures open sharply higher as optimism returns, but gains fade into Monday cash market open. After the Monday open, senior administration officials such as Treasury Secretary Bessent appear on live television to reassure investors and emphasize progress towards a deal. And over the next 2 to 4 weeks, various members of the Trump administration continue to tease progress towards a trade agreement. A trade deal is announced and markets hit new record highs and repeat from step one. Right. So we'll see how this plays out. It's funny. I was laughing when I read this. President Trump posts a text message he receives from France President Macron. I do not understand what you're doing on Greenland. Let us try to build great things, Macron says. Macron then set up meeting with Trump in Switzerland, right? And he says, we are from President Macron to President Trump. My friend, we are totally in line on Syria. We can do great things on Iran, right? If I don't know if you know, the current situation in Syria is this could also, affect what's happening in the world. Just short, the new regime there is fighting the Kurds, and the Kurds have oil and gas fields under their protection, right? Where they have taken over. Also, there's a lot of bad guys there that they had stopped before, the ones that everybody didn't like a few years ago. I don't know how the algorithm's gonna when I say that word, but anyway, so they're there, and so that's a situation that needs to be looked at. Iran, and he says, do not understand what you're doing on Greenland. Let us try to do great things. Let us have dinner together in Paris together on Thursday before you go back to the U.S. He's going to be in Davos. And then he says that he said that he was going to invite Putin to be on the board of peace of Gaza. And he also commented on Macron declining to join the board. He says, nobody wants him because he's leaving office very soon. If they show hostility, I'll impose 200% tariff on their wine and champagne, and then he'll join. So I kind of laughed out loud when I read this, and my wife was like, what's so funny there? Whenever someone makes him angry or doesn't do what he wants, tariff, boom, right? Slap it on the table. It's so far it's worked, right? The playbook has worked. The markets, react how they react. Silver and gold continue to go bananas. Silver already to 95. Gold as well, going up significantly. This is the situation that we live in right now. This is what's fueling the crypto market. This is what's fueling the stock market. And that's why it's so important to talk about this. I know that some people might say, oh, this is boring, but I think this is very, very important. Just to know general stuff is important, right? To know what's going on around the world. But this also affects the macro and the micro. So it affects in the short term and it affects long term on the markets, what happening. The October 10th it was a micro event, right, that happened, the China tariffs, right? But it's been affecting the crypto market for the past 3 months since then. Right. And so we're seeing the aftermath of that one thing for the past 3 months. OK, so it's very, very important to remember that. And we'll see how the markets play out here. The stock market and the crypto market today, into this. Do you think the markets, let me know in the comment section, do you think that the markets know that this is the playbook and that's why they're not really selling off too bad? Like, they're selling off, pre-market is selling off. I'm not going to say that it isn't. If we take a look, you can see here, 4, 3, right? There is sell-offs here, and I'm not going to say that there isn't. Lots of red on the pre-market, but will this, kind of get eaten up as the markets open up? And people are like, okay, this is the playbook. We know how this is going to play out. Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, I just want to remind you that this video is for educational purposes, for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before you decide to invest. Also, very important, remember that I will never contact you on social media asking to sign up to anything or to send me anything. If you see me or someone that's using my image DMing you or befriending you, report them. It's not me, okay? Be very, very careful. I try to report what I can see, but I try to do a sweep of all social media and every a week or so and try to find them, but they just pop up more. So just be very careful out there. Also, just not just me, but other YouTubers, social media people, they won't DM you asking you to sign up to stuff. Be careful out there. Be smart. Okay. Japan's 40-year bond yield just hit 4%, the highest level since 2007. This shows investors are no longer comfortable holding Japan's long-term debt. Confidence is clearly breaking. With Japan's massive debt, even a small rise in yields means the government must pay much more in interest, borrow even more to cover costs, and face tighter budgets across the economy. More money will go into interest payments instead of growth. At this stage, Bank of Japan intervention is not a choice anymore. It's becoming unavoidable. We know the whole situation. We know that Japan holds a lot of the US bonds. We know that a lot of people were afraid of the Japan carry trade part two and how that could affect the market unraveling off of that. And so, a few weeks ago, that was the big thing. Oh, what's going to happen with Japan? Will they raise interest rates? Will they won't interest rates? And the market kind of, um, jumped jumped off of it, right? And to other stuff, because that was like the big thing a few weeks ago. Oh, Japan, Japan, Japan. We still need to watch this. We still need to see what's happening there. And I'll continue to update you on what's happening with Japan. It's a very, very important factor here for the crypto market. Coinbase continued to work on crypto bill with the banks. Brian Armstrong confirmed meeting with bank CEOs at Davos to advance the crypto market structure bill. He plans to negotiate with banks on stablecoins before taking proposals back to U.S. lawmakers. So it seems like Coinbase is going to be working with the banks and try to get the Clarity Act passed. We'll see how that plays out. Again, that is one of the factors that has seen the market sell off over the past week or so, right? We had 1 day of recovery into, this was January 14th, 13th, right? And then we had 15th, and that news came out that they were pulling their support. And since then, XRP and Bitcoin and everything is down since then. In the past week, XRP is down 11.37%. And Bitcoin, since that, is down 6%. So, less, but still. Ethereum is back to the levels it was before the pop that we had here, prior to that dates. Of course, we had that pop out, but still. And so it's interesting. And you remember when we went to greed, and I was like, I don't understand why we're going into greed, right? We were just, a week ago, we were at 61. We were in the greed. I was like, I don't really understand this pop up. Yes, I guess Bitcoin, went over 95,000, but I was looking like it was going to 100,000, but I wasn't feeling greedy. And very fast, we're back to 32. We're back to fear. And so this is a very interesting situation with the market. It feels like the market has popped into this 5-year cycle. We've seen a huge detach between the M2 and the price of Bitcoin. And it will be very interesting to see, how this quote unquote 5-year cycle will develop. We'll see. Now people are talking, potentially a top of 2026, not 2025. Listen, I will be happy if we see a top in 2026 to the end of 2026. Maybe we're going to have something new. This cycle has been totally different than previous cycles. We had a new all-time high for Bitcoin prior to having that. Had never happened before. We have the ETFs. We have new money. We have big money in. We have a situation where a lot of retail. I had this tweet I wanted also from Miles here. The trenches cooked crypto. This cycle is by far the most attractive crypto has ever been, right? Mass altcoin dilution led to millions of crypto tokens that became worthless, right? And retail being continuously dumped on as exit liquidity. If you're going to play the altcoin game going forward, you need to stay engaged, have daily research routine, and do whatever it takes to stay engaged in the space as narratives are moving faster than ever. Act quickly, execute on asymmetries faster than the next guy. Most importantly, learn when to size up with proper risk management. In this environment, the above trade skills are non negotiable. Gone are the days of the 2021 style alt season where everything pumps simultaneously. We'll see, right? But over 13.4 million tokens have gone kaput, right, in 2025. So it's very, very important to remember that we need to continue to develop, we need to continue to learn, we need to continue to find new ways to better ourselves, and that's very, very important going forward. And part of that, right, is subscribing to the channel so you get daily updates on what's happening. Part two is to ring the bell so you get notification when a new video drops. Part three is to drop a comment, 8 for infinity and beyond. And the fourth thing is to smash that like button. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.